Alright, so, God, all the acne. I'm in my 30s and I still have all the acne. So, watched Swallow. Yeah, move the light a little. Judge the light. Yeah, so I watched, as I said, Swallow. Independent film, yada hoo ha, all that stuff. That movie came out in, was it March or some shit? Whatever. It came out. And God, do I even remember how to do this? It's only been 3 days. The movie Swallow, Jesus Christ, look at me. I go to the post office and I forget how to do anything. The movie Swallow is about a young woman who, she gets married, she, is pregnant, and, so pretty much once she, finds out she's pregnant, she starts to, like, have, this desire to eat, like, random objects, so just be like, I'm just gonna eat this vape, like that kind of shit, because I remember seeing, like, some of the trailers, you see her taking, like, a push pin, and I'm like, I really enjoyed this movie. Again, it's another one of those, like, 80-minute, like, 190-minute, like, real quick sit movies, but this one was really, really good. It really shows just, like, they don't have to be like, oh, you really see, like, the psychology of it and all that stuff. But no, you really get to see kind of, like, her mental, how would I say it, like, mental difficulties, not really deteriorating. It's just, like, her going through it, It's just her going through some shit. Like, yeah, like, whatchamacallit, like, you can tell she, like, used to be, like, like, some poor girl, and she's married to, like, a rich dude who's got business stuff, that's always how the fucking story is, and they live in, like, this house out of, they've got a plot of land, like, that kind of shit, and she's just, like, she's a housewife. And it's funny, because I've been watching Mad Men lately, and it's just like, oh, I'll just stay at home and just redecorate and do, the female things, Because that's the only thing I'm good for. Oh, look, I'm pregnant. Oh, female things, Anyway, so yeah, like, to talk more about it, I definitely have to go into spoilers, but before I do that, like I said, I do recommend this. It's, what was it, like, $5.99, $6.99 rental? It's a little bit more, but it's like a freaking indie film, so I totally get it, like, make your money. God, my house is, like, weird sounds. But yeah, it's pretty much, like I said, you see that she's started to eat these weird objects and all that stuff, and then, like, how her marriage kind of, like, her eating the stuff is making her mentally go kind of downhill / kind of uphill, but really downhill, but then her marriage is going downhill, it's a lot. It's a lot going on. There's, yeah, again, I don't know how else to talk about this without going into spoilers, but that's pretty much it. It's just her struggling and then eating random objects. But yeah, I'm gonna go into spoilers. 1, 2, 3 spoilers. So, whatchamacallit, like, so once she finds out she's pregnant, like, the mother-in-law is like, here's this book, I read it, and, it helped me with postpartum depression, and hopefully it'll help you and all that stuff, and she's like, okay, and, like, she opens it up, and one of the first things is, like, to kind of, I guess, keep her, again, mentally yay, it was like, oh, like, try something new, and blah, blah, blah. So, like, normally someone would be like, oh, you know what, I'm gonna start painting, or, like, I'm gonna pick up bird watching, but she was just like, oh, a marble, ooh, I'm so happy, and it was like, oh, again, knowing what the film was gonna be, you knew that was gonna happen, but it was just kind of like, oh, okay, ma'am, and then, like, she passes it, and then she grabs, like, gloves, and she goes into the toilet, and at first, I didn't think that, oh yeah, she ate the marble, then she pooped it out, and she's gonna go take the marble out the toilet. I thought she was gonna go and grab shit, because why not? Because that's what this film is, she's just gonna randomly put objects in her mouth. It's a movie, like, it's an artsy version of, like, an episode of My Strange Addiction, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's pretty much what it is. And so I was like, oh god, like, my Neil Breen cringe, like, thing I do. And then like she pulls it out and then she's just like washing it, and you just see you see the nudity. And then she has like a tray like on her vanity, and she just puts like it there, and slowly but surely as the movie progresses you see like the objects that she like has swallowed and then passed and all that stuff. Like, oh god, when she did the push pin and then you saw like the blood, oh god, when she swallowed it she was like like while watching the movie I had to like go and like be like sipping on a drink or you know popping a candy or some shit like that, just because I was like, because it's like you felt yourself like, you know what I mean, like the marble I was just kind of like, oh okay, but then it was like the push pin I was like you know, and then there's a part where she took like a battery, you know, and then yummy. But there's one part where it pans over to her little tray and you see more and more of the stuff. Like I paused and there was like, it was like a little porcelain like figure thingy. It was like a lock, like a mini lock, like a luggage lock kind of thing. I was like, Jesus Christ, ma'am. And then like at one point where they're like, okay, let's do a sonogram, let's check how the baby's going, and the doctor's like, brr, 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 brr. Like, okay, it seems good. Oh, there seems to be like an obstruction. Maybe there's a glitch, you know? And then she pushes on, and she's like, ah, oh my god. And then they had to like, you know, pull stuff out, and they pulled out a safety pin, they pulled out like a little, like a jack, like one of those, you know, thingies, but it was like a metal one, and then some other shit, like, and then obviously that's when they found out that she ate all that stuff, and so like the husband is freaking out, and he's so in this world of, you know, like everything has to be perfect because he's like, I'm white and rich, and he's that the actor they chose was very good because he had that like Chisel McChisel face white guy that you really want to punch in the face, you know. You know, a white man. So he had that like look to him, and he was like totally douchey, and like even in like the beginning of the film, like he's not really like listening to her, like she's talking about stuff, and then he's like, huh, you know, like that. And when like they're having dinner with like like his family, sorry, and then he's like, oh, tell them the story, and then as she's like telling the story, they're like, anyway, like just, you know, like what the fuck you said to tell the story, like I don't know, that part like got me, because that reminded me of like when I used to work in an office and people would ask me about stuff, and then as I would answer, then they would like cut me off and then like move on, and I was like, really? There was one day I literally just kind of like had a minor snappage, and I just went, why do you ask me like things if you like, you know, like interrupt me like when I'm 3 words into like telling you something you asked me about? And they're like, oh, I do, like, oh, anyway, so I don't work in an office because anyway, back to the movie. So it's like that kind of thing of like, wow, you just no respect at all. Anyway, back to it. So the husband is mad that like she's not the perfect, you know, cutesy little blonde or whatever you want to call her, that, you know, she has this disorder, and he's like, why didn't you tell me this when we got together? And she's like, well, it's not something I've always had, this is like a thing I recently just developed. And then he's like, oh my god, I can't believe I have to pay, you know, I'm a rich guy, I have to pay for your medical treatment, my family has to do this, how dare we spend an ounce of our money not on ourselves, you know? Excuse me. There it is. Okay, so cereal. So because of that, of course, she has to go see a therapist, and the therapist, she's, you know, she's a therapist, so she's being very helpful and all that stuff. And then like when the session was over, she just kind of like, it was weird because she just kind of went and was like, oh, I need to tell you I should have told you a thing about like my mom and like my family and stuff. And then she's like, well, this is the end of our session, maybe we can talk about it next time. Why did you suddenly like bring it up now? What? It was just like this huh kind of thing. So they ended up, you know, hiring like an in-home nurse person, but they're more like not so much nurse, but more kind of orderly. Like she pretty much had like her own bodyguard to herself. It was like this guy from Syria, and so, you know, to make sure she doesn't put shit in her mouth and blah blah blah. And so like, you know, whenever she'd go in the bathroom, he would have to like pat her down, but then she already like hid like a baggie of like nails and stuff, so she's in the bathroom like, you know, again, my strange addiction. And even I think she even mentioned like eating mattresses and cushions, so it is very much like, you know, my strange addiction. I love snorting baby powder. God, that, Oh man, it's terrible to watch that trash TV, but you watch it because then as mentally ill as you may be, you think, well, I'm not that bad. Kind of. Anyway, so she keeps eating stuff, because it is what it is. And oh my god, and then there's a part where she goes back to, she goes to another therapist section. And this part, I was like, oh, like, this is where the movie just kind of got me like, oh, okay. So, like, the therapist is like, okay, you said you wanted to talk about, like, your family and all that stuff. And then, she's like, oh yeah, so anyway, BT dubs, my dad isn't my actual dad. My mom was raped. Like, so, like, nonchalant. And it was like, excuse me, what? Like, what? And then she's like, yeah, like, the guy got caught and all that stuff. He did time, he's fine. And, like, that's how she said it. She, like, not exactly in that tone, but, like, very much kind of like, anyway, so I had salmon for dinner. Like, very, like, that you don't bring in, okay. And the therapist is like, what? And then she goes and she's like, oh, yeah, grabs her wallet and has, like, a picture of her mom's rapist in her wallet. And I'm just there, like, why do you have that? Why, and therapist was like, why do you have that? She's like, bitch, what? Anyway, so it gets to a point where, like, she's got to get more stuff removed from her stomach because, of course, she gets the battery taken out and, God, what else did she get taken out? She just got, like, a shit ton of more stuff taken out of her stomach. And then the family is like, okay, well, she's carrying this baby, and even though we have someone watching her, she's still doing it. So we're gonna have to check her into, like, a mental health facility, where they're gonna watch her 24/7, blah, blah, blah. So as they go to, like, be like, let's ship you out, she's like, I forgot my phone charger, I'm gonna go to the bathroom. And she, like, escapes. The Syrian guy, like, pretty much, like, he kind of felt bad for her, and you get it, and so he's just kind of like, oh, she snuck out, even though he was like, no, my child, so she hitchhikes, all that stuff, she, like, tries to, what do you call that, get in touch with her own mother, or her own mother is like, I don't got space for you, like, ew, damn, like, just like with Gretel Hansel, it's like, wow, these mothers really just don't have any room for their kids, like, that's, okay, and then, like, because she still had her phone, her husband, like, calls her, and he's like, like, at first, he was like, hey, like, just come on, like, he's trying to be, like, nice, like, hey, just, come back, and, like, we'll talk about this, and when she's like, I gotta go, he's like, you fucking god, give me back my baby, blah, 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 and she's like, smashes the phone and all that stuff, and, anywho, yeah, so, pretty much, like, the third act, like, the last part of the movie is just her, like, just trying to get her shit back together, So she, like, goes and finds her real dad, the rapist, who's played by, what's his name, Dennis O'Hare, I think that's the last name. But, yeah, he's been in a bunch of, like, American Horror Story, all that stuff. And so she, I guess, like, got closure by meeting her real dad, all that stuff. And from then on, she, like, goes to a clinic, and then, it's like, here, pop these pills for reasons, and then she's, like, so the movie, like, ends with her, like, at the fucking, mall, just at, like, a food court, just, like, eating herself, and then she just starts, it's funny, because when she was popping her pills, I was taking my meds, so it was just kind of like a, let's all kill babies together. Fucked up. I was just like, oh, me too, honey, me too, but not really, but similar. And then the movie ends with her, like, having the, medical induced, was it coma, Jesus, abortion, like, in the mall, and then she, like, leaves happy, like, the movie just, like, the credits and stuff just roll over, like, a women's bathroom, and it, like, some might be kind of with the end of the movie. I feel like it is complete closure for her because she escaped from her husband, which, as glamorous as that life may have looked on the surface, it was really shitty because, like, the family was, like, more and more controlling over her, and she wasn't really able to, like, be herself. She got to, like, meet her real dad and, like, got that closure, whatever closure you may think that is, and then she got to just say fuck it with the baby, because she's like, that's, I don't want this, and she's doing her, whatever that may be whatever you think she does after she leaves that fucking bathroom and all that stuff. But like I said, I enjoyed this movie. It's you know, if you want to be like that asshole and be like, this is like an artsy version of an episode of My Strange Addiction, it kind of is, but it's like, it's done well. It's done really well. The cinematography is really pretty. You know, the main actress, she was in like Hardcore Henry and all that stuff. Like she does a very good job. You know, like I said, the guy who plays the husband does a really good job being an asshole. The family, like the in-laws, do a great job being assholes. Like, you know, we're rich people. You know, so you know, white people. Such an asshole. I know everyone does a great job with the movie. There's like, there's no pacing issues in this one, you know, like in the other movies I was talking about, where there seemed to be, like, pacing issues in the beginning or at some point. But, yeah, like, I enjoyed this one. I'm like, yay! I think I have one more on the list so far before I probably, I don't know, have to bite the bullet and pay the $20 for another movie. But anyway, I got, like, one more. But anyway, like I said, I like this movie, and fucking see it. It's an indie film, so definitely support indie films. Alright. I never know how to end a fucking video.